There are two more head coaching jobs open in college football in Florida and Colorado State, and I figured now's a good time to talk about Stanford as well. Let's talk about the top candidates for each of these jobs, starting with Florida, which is easily the most attractive job here, and therefore there's some big names. The number one name getting thrown out there is Lane Kiffin. Florida is going to aggressively pursue him. You start to wonder if Kiffin can win a national title at Ole Miss, and you wonder if Kiffin is thinking maybe the same thing, especially if this season doesn't pan out the way they want. Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri has had great success that he's sustained over a couple of seasons now, a very attractive name likely in this coaching search. James Franklin, a guy to keep an eye on, a guy who had proven success. Florida's probably looking and thinking, we would take 10-2 every year with a loss to Georgia and another top contender, because that's what he was doing at Penn State. So definitely a name to keep an eye on. Jedd Fisch at Washington has had a great rebuild so far with the Huskies, and Florida might have some interest in getting him to jump ship again. Alex Golesh is the top G5 name to keep an eye out for, absolutely, within the state. He's had great success with the Bulls. John Summerall at Tulane, he has an even more extensive resume, could be a great fit as well. Jeff Brom at Louisville has definitely been on the radar after that upset win over Miami with his resume at his alma mater. And then Brent Key, another guy, might be tough to pluck away from his alma mater, especially with his style and the way he is as a person, but another one that Florida definitely has their eyes on. Stanford's another job that's technically open right now, with Frank Reich being the interim coach this season, but with how Stanford's performing, maybe Reich gets a look for the job. They would have to convince him to not retire, which is what he said he intends to do, but maybe with the success they're having, they just bring him on and have him be the guy. Some other guys to keep an eye out for might be Jeff Monken, Kenya Matalolo. They have ties to service academies. Kind of a similar dynamic to what you're doing at Stanford. You're at a disadvantage in recruiting. There could be a lot that makes sense there. Spencer Danielson at Boise State, I think, is a name they would love if they could lure him away from the Broncos. There's been buzz about Jason Garrett perhaps getting back into coaching. Maybe this would make a lot of sense. Chris Peterson, another analyst that maybe would want to do it. And then some guys in the Washington Commanders that have had their name linked to this job for a little bit. I trust that Andrew Luck is going to be very thorough in his search, and I trust that it could be a name not even on this list, because I think they're going to hire a very qualified, good name, and it could be somebody that's not here. That's a sign of a good coaching search. I think Stanford's in good hands here. I was pretty surprised to see Colorado State pull the plug on Norvell, but you imagine they want a fresh start in the new Pac-12, and they're probably going to take a big swing. Brian Harsin has proven success at Boise State. He's been great as the OC at Cal this year. Brent Vigen is a great FCS coach that's had a ton of success. Same with Tim Plow, another guy on the radar. Tim Skipper, the interim head coach at UCLA, also was an interim at Fresno State and made a bowl game a year ago. Kirby Moore at Missouri, the offensive coordinator, could be a guy to look out for. Jay Hill, defensive coordinator at BYU. He's been there for a minute. A couple other coordinators to keep an eye on, but I really think they're keeping it West Coast focused. All these top six guys, I think, pretty realistic candidates for this job. It's going to be interesting to see what the value is of these Pac-12 openings now that we have two of them with Colorado State and with Oregon State.